Thank you, Bill. It's great to be here, and this is the first time I can ever remember a local council putting on this kind of event to look at this type of issue. And I think that that just shows you the level of concern that there is in this town about the future of Darlington Memorial Hospital. And this is the right place to have this debate. This is where people that we elect from across the borough come to talk about the decisions that we make for our town, the future of our town, and increasingly the health and well-being of Darlington citizens. So it's right that we're having this here. And I commend the council for putting this on for us today. You didn't have to do it. It's a decision that you took because you felt that you needed to involve as many people as you could when you were looking to take a position on the transformation plan. So it's good that you're doing it in the way that you are, and I hope that we can do more in this style in the future. I felt quite angry, actually, listening to some of that, and I've listened to that several times now. I've been to many of the consultation or engagement events, and each time I get more and more frustrated at the amount of jargon, the way that decisions are cloaked, the good things that you say that you can deliver, we can all support. Of course we want more use of technology. We want older people better supported. We want care closer to home. We don't want to be in hospital longer than we need to be. Obviously, those things are things that we can all support. But where in this plan is the investment to be able to deliver those things before you take away our emergency facilities? That question has never been answered. I agree that clinicians should take a lead. And my GP's here. I didn't know he was going to be here. He's here today, and I'm glad that he is. He's a very, very good GP. Handed me this from the BMA, and yet that makes exactly that point, that the money, the upfront investment that we're going to need to deliver this safely, to get the benefits that are in the plan, isn't going to be available. And until I see that money on the table, I just think this whole process needs to stop because it isn't safe. Now, you've spent almost £5 million engaging with the public on this, almost £5 million. And I think that is a disgrace. I've spent nothing engaging with the public, and I thought a couple of weeks ago I would email out to my database of people who contacted me over the years, and within 24 hours, over 1,000 people, Darlington residents, had emailed me back with their views and replies to my questionnaire on the future of Darlington Hospital. And I'll just read a couple of them out. I mean, there's pages and pages of it, but this is what people think. You want to know what people think. You say you're interested in what people think. This is what they think. As a type 2 diabetic, and my wife has type 2 diabetes too, I dread complications occurring. So we often think that we're talking about broken bones and sudden injuries that might happen. Actually, it's people with long-term conditions. They matter. They're the people who are living every day with this anxiety, needing to know that they can access those services quickly when and where they need them. Another person said she had abdominal pain last weekend at 30 weeks pregnant. Within an hour, she'd seen 2 midwives and a doctor, and the service was second to none. Another lady said, both my children were born at DMH in critical circumstances. Both times, my life and that of my baby was at risk. Both times, we were saved. I'm not sure that would have been the case if we had needed to wait for an ambulance to transfer us. And my husband would not have been able to spend as much time with us if we were at UHND. And that's what people, I've got pages and pages of this. I will share this with you. There is, I have no shortage of these kinds of anecdotes, but actually you don't need me to tell you because there are other people here who are going to make those points, I'm sure. There are many assumptions, I think, in the STP that just haven't been substantiated. The future rates of use, the demand on services in the future, I'd like to see how you've calculated those. They look very, very optimistic to me. The 2 key points, I think, that support Darlington Hospital are that you haven't allowed sufficiently for the expansion of the garrison at Catterick. There's no reference that I could find in the STP of the Army 2020 report or the refined plan that's been published since, or the Better Defence Estate Strategy published late last year. And have you taken account of the MOD plans to sell land for further development at Catterick? This is an area of fast-growing population. We know in Darlington the demands that are being put on us in terms of housing development. The same is happening further afield, particularly around Catterick. And I'm just not convinced that sufficient notice has been taken of that when you're drawing up these plans. But the thing that most often gets mentioned to me when we've done, at no charge, street stalls on High Row, and we've had coffee mornings across the borough to engage properly with people, to listen to them, the thing that comes up more often than anything else is about travel times. This is what really frightens people. And this is really the nub of it. The travel time from Catterick to James Cook Hospital is 46 minutes. From Catterick to Durham is 47 minutes, but Catterick to Darlington is 28 minutes. And that's assuming no traffic problems, no roadworks, no issues with the weather. That's on a very, very good day. And that's assuming your ambulance arrives on time. And we know that the North East Ambulance Service, for many reasons that we could spend a whole other session debating, has very real problems meeting its targets, particularly for people who are not in those life-threatening situations but are in severe pain and have been left in, disgraceful situations for hours and hours on end. We all know about those stories. There is nothing yet to indicate that NIAS is going to change in sufficient time to allow for the plans that you have to be delivered safely. And I haven't seen anything that responds to that. But I really feel for people living to the west of us, people living in Barnard Castle, in Bishop Auckland and into the Dales. Those people were made a promise when Bishop Auckland was downgraded. They were promised that, unhappy as they were at the future of their hospital in Bishop Auckland, that Darlington was safe, that they would have Darlington to use. That was a promise. And I'm sure Helen, when she gets up to speak, will make this point, because the travel time from Barnard Castle to James Cook is 49 minutes on a good day. From Barnard Castle, 49 minutes. They're not happy about that, and I know that Helen will make that point as well. The STP, I think, is optimistic at very, very best. That's being very kind. All the assumptions in it seem to be best case. There is no concept of where the necessary upfront investment will come from. And the worst thing about all of this is that it has been done in a bubble, in this sort of secret place that other people have not been able to access. We're told it's clinically led, that it's been put forward by clinicians. I absolutely believe that's true, but all the clinicians who come and speak to me tell me they don't like it. They tell me it's a bad plan. And you'll be hearing from clinicians today, practicing and retired. And I know that they don't always come to you and tell you this, but they're coming to me and telling me that they're not happy about it. And obviously they don't want to go on the record and always say who they are, but I can promise you that all the clinicians that work in the trust in Darlington and Durham and James Cook, they are not all of one mind about this by any means. And I think you need to be a bit more upfront about that when you're making your presentation. Now, I don't like this process at all. I don't like the fact that we're being asked to pick between North Tees Hospital and the communities that rely on it and Darlington Hospital and our community. I think that is a dreadful situation to put us in. But I know that you're not the government, and there's no point me standing here and making points about underfunding of our NHS and lowest per capita spent, all of that. I know you're not the government, that's not your fault. But I don't think it's right that this community here in Darlington is being pitted against a community just a short distance up the road who will be making the very same points to you. That is wrong. We should not be put in that position. But as we are, who else is going to be standing up for Darlington other than these people here? That is our job. That is my job. I'm the only person elected to represent the whole town. So I will fight till I've got no breath left in me to save that hospital and keep it the way it is. And so will everybody else in this room, because that's what they are elected to do as well. Because what you haven't done is provided the evidence that shows where we get the better outcomes from. Because I know that this isn't going to be won on a plea from the heart, or the best run campaign, or the best petition, and I've got 8,000 signatures here, by the way, and that is a work in progress. That isn't going to win this. This is going to be won on evidence. But that means you have to provide the evidence to us about where the better outcomes come from. Because when you wanted to move cardiac services to James Cook, so a few years ago now, you didn't get a peep out of anybody here, or me, or anybody, because we knew that was the right thing. We knew that people were getting less good outcomes because the service needed to be centralised. And you backed it up, you showed us where the benefit was going to come from, and we accepted it. And people are alive now who maybe wouldn't have been because of that decision. So this is not all about parochialism and heartfelt pleas for your local hospital. This is about a failure to make the case sufficiently well to provide the evidence and to give us the confidence to support it. Because as it stands, I won't support it, and I don't think anybody else here should either.